So our final speaker is Ling Wang. Ling Wang is a professor emeritus of Asian American Studies at Berkeley. During the past 40 years, Professor Wang's impact as a Chinese American scholar, activist, institution builder at UC Berkeley, policy advocate, and public speaker has been unparalleled within the field of Asian American Studies and alienation. He has fought for the rights and for the voices of Asian Americans in politics and education, including bilingual education, admissions quotas, and U.S.-China relations. In 1969, he also helped to establish the San Francisco-based advocacy group Chinese for Affirmative Action. He's also very active around this issue.
Thank you very much, Amy. I'm sorry I came late because I came from San Francisco and the traffic was just horrible. And parking, of course, since I retired, I lost my parking privilege. Although it's not exactly a loss because I save over $100 a month for being a faculty and having a parking space on campus. You know you have to pay over $100 being a professor here that you have to pay. So anyway, I park illegally downstairs. Hopefully that I won't get a ticket. But I think Pat, previous speaker, both of them have already covered a lot of important points, but I'd like to maybe take a slightly different approach to the subject matter. And that is that this year is the 50th anniversary of the Master Plan for Higher Education. I don't know, you may not know about it, but the California higher education system was based entirely on this master plan that was adopted 50 years ago by the state legislature. And it was, at that time, it was rather visionary because the idea was that the master plan was that every high school graduate should be entitled to have access to higher education. Now, of course, not everybody has the same kind of academic background. And so the master plan set out a 3-tier system in higher education in California. On top of that, of course, is the UC system. At that time, when it was first envisioned, there were only 5 UC campuses. But during the decade of 1960, under the leadership of former President Clark Kerr, UC system anticipated the population increase in California and the need for more people in California to get the kind of education that UC could offer. So they built in the 1960s 4 new UC campuses. So reaching 9, by the end of the 1960s decade, 9 campuses. And of course, if you fast forward, over the last 40 years, we only have built 1 new campus, and that was Merced, that was started 4 years ago. And in the meantime, at a time when California built those 9 UC campuses back in the 60s, the population of California was 15 million. And you fast forward again, we're approaching 40 million, and we only have increased 1 campus. And in fact, during the 1980s, when there was a controversy on this campus about Asian admissions, the UC president, then David Garner, commissioned a study costing several $100,000 that actually came back and recommended California needed 3 new campuses in order to accommodate the population growth. So this master plan is now being, some people say that it's being celebrated, but other things that, this master plan is effectively dead. And there are several ways of looking at it. But I think, it is true that as a publicly supported 3-tier system of higher education, UC, CSU, and community colleges, all having different admissions criteria and procedures, this system has served California well, but it also has failed a lot of people in California. Make no mistake about it, and especially our own UC system. We have failed the people in California quite badly, actually. And now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up to start my presentation is that the issue that is before us, the new admission policy, is the first time since the master plan was established that there is going to be a fundamental structural change to the master plan. Even though I said already that master plan has been very much affected because of the several changes. I mean, for one thing, for instance, at the time when master plan was adopted, I think something like neighborhood of 50 or 60% of the annual budget of UC came from the state. Now it's less than 20%, and in some campus, like San Diego, it's even less than that. So in a way, it has become increasingly a private institution, not supported as much by state funds. And in fact, a lot of faculty across the whole system, including many on this campus, actually have flatly stated that the new president of UC, Udall, actually is planning on taking UC and making them into private institutions. And there are strong indications of that happening, especially in the professional schools. If you take a look at the law school, medical schools, business schools, their tuitions are now already as high as Stanford University or Harvard or Princeton. And it won't be long, especially at the rate that the student fees are rising, it won't be long before UC actually become a private institution. So now I said that the new policy is fundamental change to the structure because in the past, we guarantee the top 12.5%, as Pat said, guarantee admission. You may not get into Berkeley that you want as your number one choice, but you will be offered second or your third choice or fourth choice. That you will always be referred to a campus where there will be a seat for you, waiting for you. Well, this new policy for the first time since 50 years ago, in 2012, we will not have that kind of guarantee. But we are guaranteed instead something called entitled to review, meaning that we'll read your application. In fact, we want to encourage you, the more the better. Apply, but we cannot guarantee you. We only guarantee you that your application will be read by somebody. Furthermore, there will be no referral. If you get rejected by Berkeley, you will not be referred to another campus. Right now, you're automatically referred to another campus. You will not be. If you want to be referred, you pay more money. Again, this is a very, very important change that's taking place. And I think Pat already mentioned other changes. Like, we did not used to have SAT tests, that, right? In the mid-1970s, Berkeley and the rest of UC system trying to decide whether we should, like Harvard and Princeton and Stanford, require all students to take SAT 1 and 2. Well, so like everything else that we do as an institution, we also do a study, do an impact study. And the impact study shows that the existing, that imposition of the SAT test as a requirement for all applicants will have zero impact on the type of student that we admit. Okay. And what did UC do? We turn around and adopt it anyway, because as what Pat says, it's a more legal and politically acceptable way of rejecting thousands and tens of thousands of students every year. Because even though these tests have been known since its founding, have been known to be biased against people who are racial or minority background and against people who are poor. And it really has no predictive value to any institution in terms of picking students who do well in college. And so UC adopted this the policy. So I think that my main problem really with the new policy, aside from what the two previous speakers have stated already, was the way that this policy got adopted. And I think both of them also have mentioned this already. But I just like to try to put them in a way that maybe more in a different way. First of all, you should, because this is a public institution, you expect that any fundamental change, especially the structural change